What is good? We're back, and we've got our first redraft mock of the year. We're going one quarterback, full point PPR, no tight end premium. We're going to break down from the 1-1 to the 1-8 to the 1-12. All three of us have those different spots in this mock. Talk about strategy, talk about who we like, when we like them, and sort of how to build our teams and start to get familiar with, how to approach redraft, because it is that season, it's that time, and the draft is pretty important. So let's take a glimpse. Let's look in here. I want to start at the 12 spot. Jeremiah's at the 12, and I liked what the team build ended up being, especially at this time of year. Obviously, players are very important, but I like to just kind of figure out the path of how I'm constructing a team, whereas almost the color of the boxes make more sense to me than almost necessarily the players. The players are obviously important, but I just like the way this team got structured. So Jeremiah, talk about how and why you decided to build the team this way.
Man, I almost thought you were going to go into some gambling diatribes where you say sophisticated things like play the number, not the player. And you run with the process. But I jump out of the gate at the double tap at the 112 with Justin Jefferson and Chase Brown. I get my Hall of Famer who's going to bounce back this season. Then Chase Brown, the cluster of him at 2-1 all the way to 2-8. This is what you're choosing against. Ready? When I choose Chase Brown, I'm choosing him over Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Devon Achane, Omarion Hampton, Kenneth Walker, and James Cook. So they are all present themselves. That's the conundrum that you're in that clump, anywhere from Janty to about Barkley in drafts. So you got to come away with something or two. And I made the choice to go anchor with Chase Brown. When I went in that direction, there was a run on those running backs. And then by the time it got back to me, I go Egbuka and Zay Flowers. Shout out to the person who got Malik Neighbors in round 3 at the 3-4. Because to me, he's a round 1 player. So I've been doing that in other formats. I just want to highlight they did that really well. Ren Dog, good shout out there to you. But I get Egbuka and Zay Flowers, who just gets his big contract today. And then at the 5-12, 6-1, I go Jalen Hurts. So I start in 6 rounds, 4 receivers, an anchor running back, and then I cap it with Jalen Hurts. And in a one quarterback format, and you guys can speak to it as well, I feel good with just rolling with one, maybe getting one very late, because I'm not betting against myself. And there's going to be, in most healthy leagues, an economy of quarterbacks you can get off the waiver wire to where you're not really pressing and you're trying to get all these upside lottery tickets at the receiver and especially the running back position, because this isn't a tight end premium. And then as we were talking pre-show, J.K. Dobbins, Corum, Rachaad White with my next 3 picks. If I could start every draft in any combination of 6 players at the receiver, running back, and quarterback position in this format, and then come away with J.K. Dobbins as my number 2 running back, I would just be elated.
Yeah, so that's kind of where the concept of the roster construction came into play. You, regardless of whether you think you should take Chase Brown there, or you like Cook or Achane or Barkley, whatever, whoever you like there, you made the decision to take a running back, and then you kind of go hero running back build and take 3 more wide receivers there. As a juxtaposition of kind of how I've been building a lot of teams, where it's definitely a lot more green boxes heavy at the top, but you doing it this way shows, hey, I like that build. And then what you can do is you can backfill that RB2 position. Just the way the board feels like it sets up from 7 to 12, it feels like you can really take shots at some really good chances of solid RB2 play in there. So I really like the way this team built. Then you sandwich that right in between with Jalen Hurts, who can just be a difference maker. If we're calling this 4-point passing touchdowns and with some rushing, now I know it's tailed off somewhat with Hurts, but that doesn't mean it can't come right back this year and be like, it's there. It can happen. He can score touchdowns. So I like the 6-1 there. You could have went Burrow or somebody like a Caleb Williams. But I think Hurts is just a nice, safe, sure bet to round that out and, always be in the upper echelon of top half of the league in quarterback scoring, most likely. So I really like the way that went. Chev, you want to hop in here?
Oh, yes, I guess I will. Yeah, so I went with hero wide receiver. I mean, I think that CeeDee Lamb being available this late in the first round was something I didn't want to pass up on. You know, it's between he and Amon-Ra St. Brown there. Sometimes Amon-Ra St. Brown falls, sometimes he doesn't. But CeeDee Lamb's almost always there. You know, so in that, you know, 8's too late for Christian McCaffrey now. People are starting to get real horned up. Maybe people have taken your advice and gone and looked at their league settings and seen who scored the most points in the league last year, if it's a league that was renewed at the running back position. So, but yeah, I went with CeeDee Lamb out of the gate, and then I tried something new.
You're at the 1-8. Just
the 1-8, yes, for reference. So 1-6, Christian McCaffrey, 1-7, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 1-8. I get on the clock and I take Cedarian Lamb, and I got so erect that I went sound blind for a second. So then I came back with Brock Bowers, which normally this is in a few of the mocks I've done in the last few weeks. I've been taking, in the last couple of weeks, I've taken Malik Neighbors there because he would never be there if we had no questions about the injury. But I went a little bit of a different route because I do think Brock Bowers is going to be in for another 150, 160 targets. We could get back-to-back record-breaking seasons out of Trey McBride and then now Brock Bowers, who is the all-time receptions leader for rookies. And, I mean, he still was incredible in 12 games last year. So I wanted to see what a roster looks like if I went with a hero tight end. Normally, you guys know, I would go with the he who shall not be cheese named. And I'm not going to say his name because I'm still on probation.
We'll say Tucker Kraft for you.
It was a crafty way of saying it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to see what it looked like, though, to get Brock Bowers and be, you know, just feel like I have an advantage, the Kelsey-esque advantage of yesteryear.
Correct.
Where he was, you know, and even then you were taking Kelsey at the 112, sometimes the 111. So I was really excited about that. And then you guys know how I feel about Kyron Williams and CTE Scat Pack. That just being able to get one, I think Kyron is an underrated RB1. And I don't think that, especially for this format, you know, redraft, in the redraft streets, I think being able to get Kyron Williams here, if something happens to Blake Corum, he goes back to the 21.2 points per game that he was during his breakout year. And it's just, he's going to be the most undervalued that you could possibly get. Yeah. I mean, he's going to be top 5 inside the 5 carries. So I want to get two what I pretend to be hammers at running back. And then I can start to kind of fill in, obviously, homer pick, Carnell Tate. Love that for myself. And then I get he who shall not be. Am I still allowed to talk about Parker Washington?
Yeah,
you can talk about
it. Okay. All right. We're still allowed to talk about Parker Washington. So just coming through those first 6 picks, I was really excited about the way that the roster construction took place. If Parker Washington is what I think he is, it gives me a little bit of runway to take a guy like Carnell Tate. And if he doesn't get off to the start that we think he's going to get off to, I have a little bit of lineup insurance. I am a little thin at receiver in this build, but it just, I mean, the values and the way that things kept falling to me in those first 6 rounds just really, really, to me, like, I would be thrilled with this start. Now, could I come out of the gate and be 0-3 because, you know, CeeDee Lamb gets hurt again, or maybe it is a true 1A, 1B situation, or just 1A, 1A in Dallas, and CeeDee Lamb doesn't have a stranglehold, but he still out-targeted Pickens in games that they played together significantly. He's just not going to generate the same type of explosives that Pickens does because it's apparently George Pickens is really good at football. Imagine that. So, but I mean, he could be an accumulator. So, like I said, I would love to get you guys feedback. I just, that's my logic at moving through this. I was a little butthurt that I wasn't able to get my 4th round Zay Flowers. Thanks a lot, Jeremiah. And my 5th round Jamison Williams. Also, thanks a lot. Well, I could have, but I thought he would come back to me. So you're a bastard for that. But hey, I still like you a lot. So,
well, you were also a bastard for getting Damon Claiborne in round 13, and I see you, and I love you for it. The one knock on the team, I wouldn't do Mahomes after Dart in round 9, but I think you autoed. but I want to speak to how the glue, Parker Washington is your glue player to this build.
Yes.
Because if he springboards, it necessitates and allow what you did in round 2 with Brock Bowers to get that tight end advantage. And it props up your 2 bell cow running backs in Kyron and Cam Scadbo. So as much as there's fragility, I look at him in the positive as your glue, Parker Washington. That pick stood out to me so well because if you can get so much war value versus everybody in that price range, he's going to go up in ADP next year, of course. Right. But that's like a league-winning pick right there. Theo Greminger always talks about the money zone and wide receivers. This may be a money zone opportunity, at least for Parker Washington coming from this group and ascending next year. So you love to see it.
Yeah, I would in the Mahomes spot, either one or the other. I'm not taking both of those guys back to back in that range. I would love to have had the other Carolina running back there in
Jonathan Brooks.
Jonathan Brooks at some point. And then I would have also probably, if I'm taking Bowers, I'm probably not taking Kincaid in the 10th round. I'm just going to take a late stab on a tight end because I'm like, I got my guy. I'm not messing with anything else. I'm gonna pivot down to, somebody probably a little later than Kincaid and just take another shot at receiver there, I think. And then I would be, I know you're a big Shaheed guy. I don't love the Shaheed 11-8. But I know that's your boy.
Oh, yes.
So, Chev, question. If you do take, because normally, as Casey had said, he wouldn't want to go towards Kincaid, and I understand that line of thinking. Is there any line of thinking, anticipatory, preemptive thought to, you've had, Chev, a good take that Kincaid is going to blow up this year, he's going to break out. Do you find yourself thinking, hey, maybe I find a way to trade away Bowers for a player that's higher up in ADP somewhere in the season if I can get a breakout from Kincaid? Does that cross your mind to take advantage?
It would be the opposite. I would be trying to trade Kincaid for another utility piece. I auto Jackson Dart, but in 4-point passing touchdown, he does have, to me, he has a little bit more utility. And I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to take the guy that I would have taken in the next round, which would have been Patrick Mahomes. And I mean, his value, his price point being here is just
love that.
So I just was like, oh yeah, I screwed this up. I autoed. I'm going to take Mahomes anyway because this is where I would have taken. So I autoed that pick. I probably would have taken Quentin Johnston where I took Jackson Dart. Just based on everything that I've said this offseason. Yeah. But in the Kincaid Shaheed thing, I was like, okay, well, if Shaheed takes a step forward this year, and we know Sam Darnold has been tremendous on the deep ball, but trying to find that chemistry and just trying to find that chemistry in real time just wasn't going to happen. You saw them trying to force the ball to him, give him reverses, do all that stuff. I think he steps forward as their number 2 this year. And that's why I was like, okay, cool. Like could you predict a little bit more volume maybe for Matthew Golden? Does he step into the Romeo Dobbs thing?
I love taking a shot on Golden.
Yeah. I mean, it's a similar bet to me because you're just like, I think he's going to get more volume than he did last year. So I'm like, would I have probably gone with Jaden Higgins or maybe taking a sick boy lean on my boy Jalen Coker? That's
what I was going to say. 1005 Coker would have been, I feel like, a nice pick for you.
Yeah,
right there.
But I think there's my logic here is just that there's a real shot that Dalton Kincaid ends up being their number 1. Like he leads them in targets.
So you're flexing the tight end then, is what you're saying?
Absolutely. Okay. I think he could be this year's Mr. Yak and Cheese. I still can't say the name. So
Tucker Kraft. Yeah. And then no thought for, you said if you wouldn't have taken Dart there, you would have taken QJ, which is fine. I haven't heard very much Wandell love out of your mouth this year.
It's not. You won't.
Interesting. Why?
You won't.
I think he's going to lead your team in catches.
I don't.
He is.
I don't. I do not.
That's what that. Casey's draft pick says.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I think it could be a fine PPR scam.
Yeah. That's what I want.
Khalil
Cam,
Shakir.
baby.
It could be Khalil. It could be Khalil Shakir in that, in that vein. I know he was tremendous last year, but I think it's somewhere in between what it was, somewhere in between what it was in 2024 and what it was in 2025 for Wan'Dale Robinson, as opposed to him being like wide receiver 14 or whatever he was last year. I think he's probably a middling wide receiver 2-3, just because as much as I love, and I think Cam Ward's going to take the leap this year, I think it's going to be hyper concentrated, and it's just, I don't have the confidence that they're just going to spam Wan'Dale Robinson.
I just think Wan'Dale Robinson's the easy button in the offense.
I think
where it's like, hey, when you're in trouble, you can go right here. This is a spot where you can just, hey, bang, 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 and just all day long put up a dog's ass. Bang,
yeah,
bang, bang.
I would. Yeah, I land more on that's going to be the easy button's going to be Gunnar Helm, going back to the way that we talked about him coming out of Texas, and then obviously Carnell Tate's the skeleton key that unlocks Cam Ward's ceiling. And I think that I have him projected right now for 135 targets. So just how much do you think is left over? If I could get 135 for him, 110 for Wan'Dale, and 100 for Gunnar Helm, and then split 80 between the running back room.
I just feel like where I can't stop drafting Wan'Dale in the 8th and 9th round. I just feel like that. I'm walking into a wide receiver too that I almost feel like it's a lock, like that it's just going to give me wide receiver 2 numbers every week. It's probably not going to be like a super high ceiling, but I think the floor is going to be nice and elevated.
I think it's Khalil Shakir.
Yeah. Well, if you think about Cam Ward, in college he had Xavier Restrepo, and if you get just a quality player in Wan'Dale Robinson who could fit that role and get peppered with targets, I think that's something that could happen, and especially if you have the Brian Daboll connection.
Right, exactly.
There's a path there to get that support for Ward at the pro level in Wan'Dale.
Yeah.
Well, he'd never had a receiver as good as Carnell Tate either.
No, I fully expect Carnell Tate to emerge as the Titans' number 1 receiver.
Well, hold on.
Down the line. I don't know that it's going to be this year.
He did have Alec Amaner. Come on, guys.
I think Alec's great. So I'm not even going
to
justify that with a response.
No, I'm not saying.
Okay,
I'm not saying. I don't think that having I blacked out when I had to think about watching the Titans in 2025 a little bit, but having Alec Amaner, Gunnar Helm, and Shamir DK emerge as your primary weapons is less than ideal for any scenario.
Year.
That's and doing it against the defenses he had to do it against. But I'm hopeful. I just think that he's going to end up more in that Khalil Shakir, like 90 to 100 targets. If he breaks one because he generates a bunch of yak, you'll be really happy that week. But if he ends up with 750 and 6 touchdowns, like, are you going to be that happy about it?
Probably not. But I don't know. I feel like there's almost no way he doesn't catch 80 balls and have
80 for 800 and
80 for that's sure.
What is that?
Last 2 years it's been 93 and 92.
It was 93 for 637. He's the only player.
That one was crazy. But this last year
was 92.
Wan'Dale was great for
1,014.
He was excellent for dart. I feel like Dayball's bringing him right over. Like, hey, you can help me bring this other guy along. I know what I got in you. I know how I can scheme you. I know how I can get the ball to you. Come over here.
Well, is this just low grade Parker Washington and Brenton Strange to the discussion where we talked about on a higher level, the Jaguars? It's going to be some possibility of we're wish casting. We think it's going to happen Parker Washington, but also there's some goodness there with Brenton Strange. But then on a lower level, but similar concept, Wan'Dale to Gunnar Helm as just being over the middle and obliterating things and making things simpler for the quarterback and Cam Ward, respectively, with the Jaguars for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I think you could use that analogy. But you guys, Chev, you took 3 rookies at the end of this. I guess your rookie wasn't that late there. Jeremiah. Do you guys have any rookie theory? Was that a on purpose thing, or did it just turn out the way to have 3 rookies at the end there, Chev?
Well, I was going to go with Powder Blue Achan, but Rendog took him in the 13th round. So then I was like, well, I want to take another home run swing on really fast, athletic guy. It was Powder Blue Achan, then Debo. Those 2 guys sniped. I'm not taking the tight ends were off the board for me. And then I landed on the demon, Damon Claiborne. Mm-hmm. And great. So I want to, that's an end to bench stash that if something happens and we just get a little bit of positive signal, all of a sudden you're talking, you're going to be flag flying in the cement aisle. Mm-hmm. Like I said, Ted Hurst there's a real chance that he wins the X receiver job. And I think that he comes in with the ability to win in the red zone immediately. And they might need that. And it's the 14th round. So if I miss, then I can just cut him. But I want home run swings. I'm not looking to be safe.
Yeah.
I'm not looking, unless I'm trying to grab really cheap handcuffs to the guys that I have, I'm not. Mm-hmm. I'm going to swing for the fences, and then those guys become waiver wire fodder, and I can just be real active in the last couple of weeks, because then that opens up 3 spots where I'm constantly turning those guys around. So if they were locks, if you were more excited about it, they wouldn't be here.
Sure.
So that's kind of what I'm like, okay, nobody wants these rookies. Nobody really knows about the rookies. Nobody has a clear path for the rookies. I'm not going to grab handcuffs. Obviously I grab Powder Blue Achan or Debo, Keaton Mitchell or Debo Samuel if I'm given the chance.
Well, also this mock took place right when Ricky was going out for the year. Was right, and he was still probably drafted. Yeah, he was drafted in this one. And I think Debo is going to just climb the charts here a little bit from out of the 13th or wherever he went.
Yeah, it's going to be early. It's going to be much earlier.
Yeah, I think he's going to climb the ranks here. A lot of positive going on right there for Debo right now. So. I just didn't know if generally just getting some rookies at the end was sort of part of a strategy there, or just played out that way. So generally, it's just whatever good swings you could take there. So.
Home run swings.
Yeah.
Home run cuts. Either I strike out or I hit it 400 feet over the fence.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you a rookie who's going to rise soon, though. The way we've been seeing the drumbeat happen. It is Zachariah Branch. Better to be wrong and then right than never right at all. Zachariah Branch goes 14-6 in this draft. I'm not saying it's going to be like a 5-round jump, but we could get 1 to 2 rounds of a hype for him. On my rookie end, I went a little earlier with KC Concepcion at 10-1, Jonah Coleman at 11-12. KC as my 5th wide receiver. My value play on him too is I have him closer ballpark to Tate Lemon Tyson. And when you can get him further away, where Tyson's 7-1, Mekhi Lemon is 7-10, who I would have taken to stack with Jalen Hurts had he made 2 more picks to me. And then Carnell Tate to Chev's 5-8. So he pays up 5-8, pays that freight, which I love Carnell Tate this year. But for me, I get the dart throw in Concepcion. At 10-1, I can let things play out in this redraft streets. And for his rookie season, which I love the Browns in the direction they're going, but it could absolutely be a dumpster fire, unfortunately, because of the quarterback situation. So I can let that play out, though. That's parked on my bench. It's on the back burner, and it's not in a spot where it hurts me. And of course, the beauty is we can churn and burn the waiver wire. You set something up now, and I think that's a theme that we can point to across these drafts. You set it up early week 1, but the bottom of your roster is going to churn because there's a lot more fluidity even then in the dynasty, because dynasty waiver wires are barren. Any good dynasty league, you're barely lucky.
Or if it's deep enough for the,
Exactly.
Right. FFPC can be good, but that's 20 players or 20 spots, right? Just for the whole thing. So, the only deficiency in your team that I don't love is just the tight ends to end. I think Hawkinson's a great last pick. If this offense bounces back, I think Hawkinson can just by proxy just be fine enough. But you take Ferguson in at 12-11 or 12-1. Sorry, and not Jake.
No.
So what's your rationale of wanting Terrace Ferguson to be potentially the starting tight end for this team week 1?
It's a little bit like where I'm in on RJ Harvey enough, where if you miss out, you're going to miss out in a big way. And that's where I just get enough of Terrence Ferguson across different formats to have him in the event that he does go off. Something that Chev employed where he goes Brock Bowers in round 2 is actually something I'm more prone to do when I think of some of my redraft 1 quarterback leagues that are out there, very few, but I'm more likely to, especially if there's less deep rosters, I'm even more prone to fill in an elite tier tight end in that case, because you get the war value at that position. And then by the time you're getting the second and third and the fourth in the bench spots, you still have so much to pluck away from, and you can make up ground versus the rest of the league if you just allow yourself to have a stud tight end. So that might be one thing that I would reconnoiter going forward, or at least actively plan towards, is tight end high.
Right. Yeah. I typically like to mix in a tight end in the first 6 picks or 6 rounds at least. But if I don't, that's when I'll usually take, 2 closer in proximity to each other. So yeah, I'm picking at the 1-1 spot here. I'll close this out. I took Bijan Brees, and then I went AJ Brown at 3-1. Which I should have taken Neighbors. That was the misstep there. Is just I got a little scared for no reason, and there's Neighbors is I got to take Neighbors, right? I mean, you taking Neighbors over.
That's a nut setup, though. In hindsight, to look at that would be a nut setup. And you have Bucky Irving in round 4 and McLaurin in round 5. Yes.
I mean, I don't think, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that there is a wrong answer between AJ Brown and Malik Neighbors this year. AJ Brown, I've been praying to the football gods for just one season of 170 target AJ Brown, just to see what the fuck could possibly happen.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the best. I think he's been one of the best wide receivers in the league. I think that nobody really views him in that manner because the fantasy stats don't necessarily line up with that. But I genuinely believe that we're about to get a ceiling outcome from AJ Brown, and people will understand just how good he is at American tackle football. And I'm here for it. I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, he's been wide receiver 6, wide receiver 5, wide receiver 20, wide receiver 11, according to Sleeper here.
He's never considered,
and 13 games was wide receiver 20.
Right. But he's never in the conversations with the
elite,
GSNs
the elite guys. Right.
Right. And I think from a talent perspective, he's always been that. So that's why I said what I said. I don't think that there's a vast chasm of points per game production or, just talent drop off. And this is redraft, so we don't have to factor in what it's going to look like in 2 years. We're just looking at what's going to happen in 2026. And I think that there's a better than 50% chance that we look up and AJ Brown is either ahead or tit for tat with every single one of the receivers selected in the first round ahead of him, and you got him in the 3rd round. So
yeah.
I mean, AJ Brown feels like the throwback receiver from kind of the elite guys do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From how they operate anyway. But yeah, so I went AJ Brown at 3-1, and then I took Bucky Irving at 4-12. So I've got 3 running backs through 4 and 1 big time receiver, or at least we hope. And then Terry McLaurin at 5-1, man, I just can't stop drafting him. I really can't. I love Terry McLaurin at this spot here. I think he's, I like all these kind of older guys. I like that Waddle, McLaurin, Evans area. I'm, for some reason, not quite as keen on Devontae Adams, but I probably should be. But I love Terry. I think we're going to get closer back to the 2 year ago season of Jaden and Terry of just being healthy and a healthy offense. And that's, I just feel like he's being slept on and underappreciated for how good he was when he actually got an opportunity with a real quarterback. Cause that was always the bugaboo, is like, can he get out? And they got one. You're like, holy shit, there it is.
Well, so it's dual fold. One, you get. I know you. Well, I want to come back to the Devontae Adams thing too because I think that is. I want to talk about that. But with Terry McLaurin, you have David Blau coming in. They're going to move him all over the formation, which is something that Cliff Kingsbury just wasn't willing to do, which is why, again, I don't know if he's taking time off in Thailand again or whatever he's into. But
good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Live your life, big dog. But with Terry, he's going to be moved all around the formation. There is no target competition. It's the cheapest wide receiver one you can buy, and he was wide receiver 7 2 years ago. So I feel great about that pick. Now, moving on to Devontae Adams, why are you not in?
I don't have a great rationale. It feels dirtier than maybe just because all the other ones seem like there could be leading men, whereas Devontae, it's for sure going to be Puka, but I don't know that it matters, right?
No, because Puka's going to get 170 targets, but Devontae Adams is the most targeted wide receiver in the low red zone. And he scores. I mean, I don't know that is there a player that scored more touchdowns?
Obviously that's if you're going to have 60 for 789 and you got to have 14.
Yeah.
Are you afraid that he's going to get got by age and every year there's players who, hey, they fall off and you don't see it coming, but it's cruel and precipitous when it happens. Is that part of it?
No, I think mainly just what's sticking in my head is just the obviously, like you said, Chev, absolutely insane low red target, which I don't know that that'll necessarily change, but 14's absurd.
But that's what he does.
And maybe it's 9. And then it's still not terrible.
If he's 9, he's wide receiver 15, and you got him. How many receivers have gone off the board?
But I would definitely rather have Terry though.
Yes, without question.
And probably Mike Evans.
No.
Does Luther Burden is Luther Burden a fish pick? If he goes 5'5" and people are in that clump, there's a lot of people in your shoes, Casey, who would take Luther Burden.
Why?
I'm just saying there's a hype out there.
But let's all just. I'm not being critical, but I'm just. If we're okay, so the risk is that he's wide receiver. You draft him at wide receiver 21 is where he's at in the ADP, and he finishes wide receiver 32 because there's just no reliable volume. He gets Khalil Shakir. Again, hey, if Khalil Shakir's family is watching this, I promise you I really like Khalil Shakir, but I'm just saying from a fantasy perspective, we can't really count on Khalil Shakir winning the 13th round. It's not going to feel good to draft Luther Burden at the 5th round and then him give you a wide receiver 27 or wide receiver 30 for him to be a wide receiver 3. With Terry, if he is healthy, there is no way that is happening. With Devontae, there's no way that is happening. With 15 games of Mike Evans, there is no way that is happening. It's just not. So you're taking all the risk, which is the point that people have been making. Luther is awesome. Luther Burden is awesome. Full stop. No equivocations. But the risk no risk it, no biscuit. He could be a top 5 wide receiver. He could. But that pathway is very narrow, and you don't have those same questions with the guys in the same round as him. Now, would I have taken Luther Burden over Carnell Tate? Absolutely. Absolutely. If he fell to me there and I was on the clock, I would take Luther Burden over Carnell Tate. I like the offense better. I like what Luther probably could do after the catch better. I've said time and again that I believe that they're going to build it around him and Colston Loveland. And there's just, because that's just easy button stuff. Colston Loveland 6'6", 250 and runs like a receiver, and Luther Burden is freaky after the catch. But he's so risky. So I have zero problem going back to it with any of the olds that went 5'1", 5'2", 5'3" here. Mm-hmm. But there's no world where I take Luther Burden over any of those guys for me personally.
That begs the question, though, when we keep sliding the pendulum, definitively then, is it Burden over Odunze? Because Odunze went just a handful of picks later at 5'10" to your 5'8".
I think that's just pick your poison. That, if you like Luther, take Luther. If you like Rome, take Rome. I think we talked about it on last night's show. I don't know if these will come out back to back or not, but I think I don't think anybody's going to be wrong in that equation. I think both of those guys, if everybody stays healthy, then they're probably both going to be really good. I think Rome Odunze is they just play different roles. So I think there's room for both of them if Caleb is as good as at least Caleb was last year, which I'm counting on him being better than last year. So that would tend to reason that like Luther Burden's probably not like super duper risky, just like you said, as far like he's playing. There's nobody to, Zacchaeus isn't there keeping him off the field, which, what a stupid argument that was last year. There's no way Luther Burden can be good because of this. Hey, I hate those arguments.
Oh my God. Yeah. Don't get me started on that shit.
But like Chev said, like I'm for sure taking Terry over Luther Burden just because I feel very confident in the outcome being good if both of those players are healthy. And obviously that's a big if. And like you said, no risk it, no biscuit. I think you certainly do need to take some risks here and there in your redraft drafts. But go ahead.
In the next 2 weeks, we get news that Stephon Diggs is joining the Commanders. Does that jack it up at all?
I
don't think so. I think Terry's still the guy.
Okay.
I think that jacks it up for Antonio Williams.
There's that's the most insulated. That is the most insulated wide receiver on the board at that point. If we're being totally, I mean, can you find me an argument for somebody else?
Not
maybe. I mean, Zay Flowers at 12 picks earlier, and you still wouldn't assume. We can't assume the type of volume that Terry gets, that Zay gets. We think it's headed that direction, but it's locked in volume. It's locked in first read target share. That's one of the safest picks you can make. And we'll get to the things that I disagree with here. We've already gotten one of them, but I can't, if Terry's there in that spot, I don't see a player in the next 20 picks that I would take over him.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're not going to get any argument from me. I love. Well,
yeah, you fucking did it. No,
I love some Terry. I love some Terry there. But let's keep it moving here on the rest of this team. So again, it's Bijan, it's Breece Hall, it's AJ Brown, it's Bucky Irving, and it's Terry McLaurin coming in at 501. And then starting the next end of the next round and onto a double tap here, we got Harold Fanning and Tyson. So those are the first two picks that I just, I didn't love any of what was available for either one of those picks necessarily. So that's when I start checking out quarterback here and there. Caleb would have been fine. But I look back and, Pitts goes 7-5. I think I would rather have Pitts this year than Fannin. Yeah. I think I could by week 4, I could be like, oh, no way. Shador's the starter and he loves Fannin and it's going to be awesome. But like, I don't know. Pitts feels like I'm not blowing it. I can't imagine there's not triple digit targets coming his way again this year.
Sure there's triple digits coming Harold Fannin's way. We know that. I mean, I don't
know if I know that or
but
not.
Is it reliable I'm team happy with the Browns, but not so much with the quarterback situation. Another question to your point, and we can keep this, it could be like a 3-dimensional tight end conversation as well. Tucker Kraft goes 6'9", just 3 picks ahead. Casey at your 6'12". You got Kraft and Fannin there. Are you slam dunk taking Kraft at 6'12" and not worrying about Pitts at that point?
Yeah, I want Kraft. Again, that to me, that just comes down to quarterback play. You could make an argument of quarterback play being dicey for Atlanta as well. But for me, I want Kraft. Obviously, I know he's not fully back in the fold of things. You got to fold the cheese in slowly there. But I trust Jordan Love. I trust the system. I trust what's going on. I think if Tucker Kraft is, again, I'm using a lot of caveats of health. That's obviously a big part of fantasy football. But I think Kraft is just locked into a great role. And maybe Fannin's, I've been taking him a lot just to see how it feels, just for a second.
Well, okay.
And real quick. And then I took Tyson there, and I don't know that I love that pick either. So go ahead.
Why? Okay. First, I'll go Harold Fannin. So he goes over 100 targets with the worst QB situation imaginable. We get Todd Monken, who fully unlocked Lamar's passing ceiling. I feel like he's going to figure out how to get some utility either out of the ghost of Deshaun Watson or just they hand the reins over to Shedeur Sanders and we have a party in the streets. It's gonna be up and down, but we know that he's going to hyper target Harold Fannin. And Harold Fannin has proven now that it's not just the small school stuff. He can be prolific at the NFL level. He's the reason that David Njoku is no longer there anymore. So that's my 2 cents on Harold Fannin. And you still have the same questions with quarterback with Kyle Pitts.
Right, right, sure.
That's the and so like at least there's someone who threw the ball. You know,
Penix was this guy last year for the most part, right. and it
was kind of and then when Kirko took over, that's when we got the crazy breakout game. Fair
enough.
So with Tyson, this is the no risk it, no biscuit pick to me because I don't think he's just going to be mid. We talked about on the dynasty shows, we've talked about till we're blue in the face. This was the wide receiver one up until we started hearing all of the recurring injury history and he missed 48% of his games. But he got the draft capital now. He's in an offense that we love. And to me, this represents a nuclear ceiling if he's your wide receiver 3, because he's going to give you those T. Higgins spike weeks where it's, hey man, he just went 8 for 112 and a touchdown and did some real crazy stuff. Like there's some stuff there to where that takes this team's ceiling to a ridiculous level. If we're just looking at ceiling plays. Now, I don't like the next 2 picks, but that's just me personally.
Love the next 2 picks.
Well, yeah, you did them.
No, the Tyson thing, there could be a portion of the season where I don't know if I can play him or not. Right.
But that's okay. That's right. Okay.
That is okay.
You took enough swings to ensure that.
That would be my only. I feel like he's going to be a player I'm going to just get wrong all season, or he just comes out and it's just Devonta Smith and AJ Brown basically.
And there's a real world,
and that's certainly the guy who's calling the plays, and we have a lot of confidence in the quarterback. I just felt like that was a bad spot to be in. I didn't love the merchandise there. To select from, but those are the 2 spots, and it seemed like you guys are into it.
Next time, let your boy slide all the way. Let him slide down there to 7, 8. I would, as much as I've banged the drum for Chuba, I don't love that pick with everything that they've got going on. Their left tackle's out with blood clots. Their right tackle, torus patellar tendon. Both guards right now are not practicing. I think they're on the pup. I don't love what they got going on right now, to be honest with you. And I love Chuba, so let your boy. If you don't feel good about it, just let Jordan Tyson just slide next time, bro.
So Casey, a little bit of your reticence on Jordan Tyson. Is there any degree of that with the pick you made at 15-1 in Tyler Shuck? Is there any degree of that where, as much as we've been hyping Tyler Shuck to be a breakout player at the quarterback position, is there a part of you that maybe loves the talent for Jordan Tyson, but isn't so sure that, hey, can support Tyler Shuck, Chris Olave, can support Jordan Tyson for week over week goodness? Is that where you start to get a little bit hesitant?
I think you should. I think everybody should, just because we're anticipating it, but we don't know, which is, some of the reason why, Tyson's there and Shuck's at the end of the draft here. Spoiler alert, I took Baker Mayfield and Shuck with the last 2 picks. But yes, I think you should have some pause for, can Shuck facilitate this whole thing? I think he can, but it's remains to be seen.
Well, we have to refer back to what we all projected for CJ Stroud to do. And that's a guy that was a top 2 pick, came out gangbusters as a rookie.
This is a much better OC HC situation.
Well, we were thinking, Bobby Slowick was in head coaching talks.
He was, but when we see how quickly that has gone by the wayside, and that never, at least from my view, happened with Kellen Moore.
Right. Well, Kellen Moore is Kellen Moore. There's no question about that. But I'm just saying, like, we just have to I like the point that you're making about just tempering expectations a bit. I do think that both of those quarterbacks could nuke this year. And I mean, they're in a division where they're not playing a whole bunch of defense. So like you're tying yourself into high scoring environments in the upper 40s more times than not throughout the year. And if Vita Vea gets traded, like the Bucks are going to have to score a shit ton of points every single week in order to make their.
Which I think the Bucks' idea is probably trying to score 30 a week, but generally,
yeah, I love that for round one, Emeka Ibuka next year.
There you go. All right, to round this team out, we've got Wandell at the 8-12. We got Pittman at the 9-1. I know Chev doesn't like that. I can't get enough of that little turn there, and then. I normally would not end up with 3 tight ends on this team. I'm fine with not having Chig and taking somebody else there. That was just kind of like,
What do you do there though? Do you go Jalen Naylor? Do you go Debo? Do you go?
If Bo Nix would have been there, I would have went him. Now what I know, I of course would go Debo right there.
Is there any consideration, gentlemen, for late round Omar Cooper? That's another guy that I'm going to start taking swings on because we liked him. We liked his profile coming out. I'll throw Adonai Mitchell out there as well because him in a full-time role could be very, very sneaky. I don't think this Jets offense is going to be as trash as everybody thinks it is.
I don't think
I think we need to start really taking a little bit of stock in potentially. I know this sounds weird and people are probably going to turn this off because they're like, man, that one old guy with the gray beard is telling us to believe in the Jets, and I don't want to ever listen to anything he has to say. But I'm just saying, we like the talent, and we love Garrett Wilson. We love where Omar Cooper, everything about Omar Cooper's profile that just doesn't. If you just don't say Jets and you just mention everything that Omar Cooper does well, you'll start to get a little horned up. I'm not gonna lie to you.
In addition to, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, no. But I'm just saying, like my thought process in just grabbing rookies, like you took Antonio Williams, that's a great shot. I just want those last few picks to be home run swing upside. So if it's a 0 going into week 3, I can fucking cut them, and I don't have to. I'm not like, I've got to hold on to this guy because he's the handcuff.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Like they're putting you in the C chair over and over and over again instead of you just being able to be like enough and be done with it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jeremiah.
Just as much as I love the Browns, you brought up the Jets. I see them very much in the same boat, and they're two franchises that people's brains, the cognitive dissonance, it's painful for them to even think of that idea. So I love that you mentioned the Jets and Browns. I'm telling you, in 6 to 9 months, going to be completely different from how they are viewed today. And we can see the future. So everybody, FFD, make sure you like, subscribe. All right. Send us the 5-star reviews, rate us, go on the FFD, get those expert ranks in. But yes, you will see.
Yeah, I'm actually a time traveler. One of the side effects is that it turns your hair gray early. So I'm actually 24 years old from the future.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I the Chig spot definitely would be a different player. I like Naylor in that spot. I hardly know her. Or Jalen McMillan. I feel like getting jammed up at the end is a good square to spin on and hold for a week or two and be like, hey, dude. Anybody? I don't know how this rotation is going to play out, but I just think they got a hard time keeping that guy off the field. I think he's a good player, and I think Baker likes him. So he's certainly somebody who, if I get jammed up, I don't mind taking there. And then last 2 picks were Baker and Shuck because just the way the QB board played. But I absolutely love taking Baker Mayfield late. Like you want to just the absolute swing to the fences. Baker to bounce back with all this offensive talent around it, line being good, and then Shuck, I got no problem. Like, obviously, I wouldn't mind, like I said, having Nix in that spot, or I would have, I could take Caleb or Mahomes in those mid rounds. I'm fine with that. But 1 QB, just going YOLO on the QB, fine with me. So kind of went. I like the idea of going RB heavy a little bit more in the beginning, and then kind of a meat sandwich with some wide receivers there. And we did end up with Charbonnet at the 111 spot, likely at the 10-12 spot. So Fannin and Likely would have been the two guys I go into the season with. Because I wouldn't take 3. I don't know why I did that, or maybe I got all. I don't know. But the Charbonnet pick at 11, I know you guys are probably not huge fans of it, but I don't know. I just feel like
I am.
he could come back by week 5
kidding me?
and be
he will wreck
have a
that
role.
backfield.
Yeah.
He will wreck that backfield for reasons.
Yeah.
Man, I have zero problem with 11th round Zach Charbonnet. That's the piece that I want more than anything else, because again, he's got naked pictures of Mike McDowell somewhere. If he can keep Kenneth Walker off the field, he is going to be a nightmare for Jadarian Price owners. Just be prepared, and you've been warned.
Yes.
Yeah. Mike McDonald, I think is. I don't know.
Yeah.
You might have said
He's got the golden arches. Mike McDaniel's got the golden arcs.
That's right. All right, let's wrap this one up. Had a good little first conversation about breaking down a redraft 1 quarterback PPR mock here. Be sure to keep it locked and loaded. I don't know if this one's going to go on the other YouTube channel or not, but the fantasy YouTube channel, the redraft YouTube channel is firing back up for the FFD. So make sure you go dust off that subscription. And make sure you go catch all the redraft content going on over there. So for Chev, Jeremiah, I'm Casey. Peace.